In this video, we're going to be talking about P7, section P7, where we learn how to solve different types of equations. In this video, we're going to be doing linear and quadratic equations. First thing we're going to do is linear equations. Linear equations involve polynomials of degree 1. To solve a linear equation, we want to isolate the variable on one side with a coefficient of 1. So for this first example, first thing we want to do is get all the x's on one side and all the numbers on the other. So we will add 3 to both sides of the equation, leaving us with 6x equals 36. Whenever you're dealing with equations, it's okay to do one thing to one side as long as you do the same thing to the other side. So in this case, we add 3 to both sides. Last step we want to do is divide both sides by 6, so we get x equals 6. A little more complicated, still a linear equation though. We have 13x plus 14 equals 12x minus 5. Same process, we want to first isolate the x. So we want to get all the x's on one side, all the numbers on the other. I would suggest we subtract 12x from both sides. In that same step, since we're getting the x's on the left side, let's go ahead and subtract 14 from both sides also. So when we do this, we end up with x equals minus 19. In this example, we're dealing with some fractions, and also our instructions are a little bit different. They say, find the solution set for this equation. This equation involves fractions, but they're pretty easy to get rid of based on what we learned about of rational expressions. So what we want to think about is just the LCD. In this case, the LCD is 5 times 2 times 3 is 30. And what we're going to do is we're going to multiply both sides of this equation by 30. Okay? When I do that on the right hand side, the 3 and the 30 simplify to 10. So on the right hand side I have 10 times x plus 2. On the left hand side I need to remember that this 30 is going to distribute onto each term inside. So when it distributes into the 3x over 5, I'm going to be left with 6 times 3x. When the 30 distributes onto minus x minus 3 over 2, I'm going to have minus 15 times x minus 3. Now we have a little more work to do because we want to get all the x's on one side and all the numbers on the other. Before we can do that though, let's simplify and distribute. So 6 times 3 is 18. Distribute the 15 through the parentheses. So minus 15x plus 45 is equal to 10x plus 20. Let's gather some like terms. So 18x minus 15x is 3x plus 45 is equal to 10x plus 20. And let's get all the x's on one side, all the numbers on the other. I'll subtract 3x from both sides and 20 from both sides also, leaving me with 25 equals 7x. And last but not least, divide both sides by 7. So x equals 25 over 7. Okay. Now our instructions said find the solution set for this equation. So as a final statement, I want to say the solution set for x is, and I want to use squiggly brackets because that is how we denote that the following list is a set. I just have one element in that set, and it is the solution we found. So again, when you're asked for the solution set for an equation, you need to write out the solution set for the variable or variables is, and then list your solutions. Quadratic equations. So now we're dealing with polynomial equations of degree 2. Whenever we encounter a quadratic equation, one of the first things we want to do is rewrite the equation so it looks like this. So that we have a polynomial in general form of degree 2 is equal to 0. So everything on the left is equal to 0. Usually that's going to be the way we want this to work. The three methods we're going to be talking about for quadratic equations are factoring, square root property, and quadratic formula. To start off, if I have an expression, if I have two numbers a and b, and if a times b equals 0, what do we know? Well, we know that either a equals 0 or b equals 0 or both. What this is called is the zero product principle. This is very useful for us. This will work for polynomial equations in general also. So first thing, let's solve the following equation using factoring. So let's try and rewrite this equation so everything's on the left equal to 0. X squared minus 1 equals 0. Now we want to solve this equation using factoring. So how do we factor x squared minus 1? This is a difference of squares, so it's x plus 1 times x minus 1 equals 0. Now I'm going to apply my zero product principle to say that x plus 1 equals 0 or x minus 1 equals 0 or both. Well, x can't satisfy both of these at the same time. And we are left with x equals minus 1 or x equals 1. Another one. Find the solution set for the equation using factoring. So, as per our procedure, get everything on the left and set it equal to 0. We have 3x squared minus 12x equals 0. And we're asked to use factoring. So the way I want to factor this is simply the GCF. And I notice that my GCF is going to be 3x. So I'll factor 3x out, leaving me with x minus 4 equals 0. Now I'm going to apply the zero product principle again to say that either this term or this term equals 0. 3x equals 0 or x minus 4 equals 0, leaving me with x equals 0 or x equals 4. I am again asked for the solution set for this equation. So what I want to say is, in a conclusion, is the solution set for x is, and again squiggly brackets indicating a set, 0, 4. Find the solution set for the following equation. We have 2x squared equals 7x plus 4. Let's rewrite this in general form. So 2x squared minus 7x minus 4 equals 0. If we remember from our lessons on factoring, we're going to want to try two different ways. We're either going to want to try guess and check or AC method. Let's go ahead and use the AC method for this. We know that A is 2, B is 7, C is minus 4. We remember that we want A times C, 2 times minus 4 to equal ST, and we want minus 7 to equal S plus T. That is to say, we're looking for two numbers, S and T, who when multiplied together, we get minus 8, and when we add them together, we get minus 7. Hopefully pretty quickly you recognize that S equals minus 8, T equals 1 will work for us. We're going to split up this polynomial using our S and T to 2x squared minus 8x plus x minus 4 equals 0, and proceed to factor by grouping. So 2x times x minus 4 plus x minus 4 equals 0. 2x plus 1 times x minus 4 equals 0. 2x plus 1, again here we're using our zero product principle. So 2x plus 1 equals 0, or x minus 4 equals 0. We end up with x equals minus 1/2, or x equals 4. So in conclusion, the solution set for x is minus 1/2, 4. So the next type of equation we're going to encounter is quadratic equations involving, the next method we're going to use to solve quadratic equations is the square root property. So if you encounter something squared equals some number, we can use the square root property. That is, we will take the square root of both sides. So I'll do square root x minus 2 squared equals square root 6. But if you ever use the square root property, you need to be sure, and we'll forget this a lot, you need to be sure to put a plus minus on the right hand side. So square root of x minus 2 squared is x minus 2 equals plus or minus 6, and x equals plus or minus square root 6 minus 2. Square root property, we want just the x squared term on the left and the number on the right. A little bit different than the general form. So for the next example, we'll do 3x squared equals 15, x squared equals 5, and x equals plus or minus square root 5. Because when we use this square root property, again, we have to remember to put in that plus minus. Last example, or last method to solve quadratic equations is the quadratic formula, which I'm sure everybody remembers. Again, we want to write this equation so that it is in general form, meaning everything on one side equal to 0, 2x squared minus 3x minus 4 equals 0. Once we do this, we need to identify a, b, and c. So a is 2, b is minus 3, c is minus 4. And we can go ahead and apply the quadratic formula. Quadratic formula says that if you have a polynomial of degree 2 equal to 0, then the solutions for that are the x's, where x equals minus b plus minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So in this case, I get x equals minus negative 3. When you're doing these substitutions for the quadratic formula, it's a good idea to put them in parentheses. Minus 3 squared minus 4 times is 2. C is minus 4. All divided by 2 times 2, which is 4. Then we're going to proceed to simplify as much as we can. Minus minus 3 is 3, plus or minus the square root of 9, plus 4 times 4 is 16, times 2 is 32, all over 4 is equal to 3 plus or minus square root 41 over 4. That's as good as it's going to get for this example. And again, we would want to finish by saying the solution set for x is, squiggly brackets, 3 plus minus square root 41 all over 4.